back to another episode of Toxic Mold Sex. This is an expert episode. I'm Elizabeth Craig, Malachi's Message Executive Director and co-founder. Co-hosting today is Emily Rochelle. She is Malachi's Message Board Chair and co-founder. Today we get to hear from Glenn Wilhelm. He's the Vice President of Business Development at Ion Cleanse. He has over 30 years of in-depth sales and business development experience. He joined the company in 2011 to manage the sales department. He is also responsible for growing AMD's international distribution network. And I know when we spoke on the phone a few weeks ago, your passion for this product just oozed through the phone. You were on fire. It was a lot of fun actually to speak with you and to hear your passion for the product and what it does and just about the people you've helped. I've talked to other salespeople before, and it was very different to hear from you because you genuinely just cared about how your product was helping people, which was so inspirational to me after talking to people, that just don't always care, especially in this industry. So I appreciated that a lot about you. It showed a lot of character and integrity right off the bat. So thank you, though, for coming on and taking a few minutes out of your day to talk to us and fill us in on what Ion Cleanse is and what it does and how it can help people.
Absolutely. Yeah. First off, thank you so much for the opportunity to share. A lot of people don't know what the Ion Cleanse by AMD is, an ionic foot bath. How are we different than other units out on the market? And, as you shared, I've been doing this, guys, 11 years. Very quick 11 years. We as a company are celebrating our 20th year in business. So, we kind of look at it, even though we've been around for so long, that this is the future of detoxification. That, we have shipped our unit to 47 different countries so far, but we almost feel like we're in our infancy right now because in today's environment, I know we're going to talk a lot about mold, but toxicity is different than it was 5 years ago, 10 years ago. We are in the most toxic environment in Earth's known history. In the day of hey, let's just drink some filtered water and let's eat a little better. We're to the point now where we have to do additional forms of detoxification. And, you're right. I'm very, very passionate about this product, and I've been very privileged to be able to help thousands and thousands of people over the course of the last 11 years.
Love it. Glenn, one of the things that I love about your product as well is that you can use it for your pets, which is huge for those that go through mold because the pets are affected too. But what is the overall mission of Ion Cleanse?
Yeah, so literally what we do is we help people and improve the quality of their life through their health. And the way specifically the Ion Cleanse does that by reducing the toxic load in the body. There are so many different benefits. I mean, you can spend 5 minutes on a Google search and do toxicity in the immune system, and there's a profound correlation by reducing the toxic load in the body and the overall response to the immune system. And I think we all could benefit, especially in this crazy world. That's probably a good idea to have a stronger immune system with everything that we encounter. So that's, our mission and what we're trying to do. We work in a wide variety of different categories and communities. And Emily, you're absolutely right. Right, our pets. I mean, we think about all the treatments that we put on our lawn, and our dogs or cats or horses so exposed to that, walking on that. And so yeah, not only humans, but our pets, we have a lot of veterinarians that actually use the Ion Cleanse as well.
I love that. Can you go through with us for people that are hearing this and they're going, I have no clue what an Ion Cleanse foot detox is, like y'all are nuts, what is this? Can you go through with us the science behind it and how it works, what it does, just the basics of that?
Yeah, absolutely. Very happy to. If you don't mind, may I share the screen so I can give a few visuals here? So let's go ahead and do that. So I kind of put together an introduction here. I do want a disclaimer. We are rated as a non-medical device, so we don't diagnose, we don't treat, we don't cure any disease or illness. So kind of getting that out of the way. But, we talk about, why do we need to detox? I mean, if you've experienced, and I'm not one of those, I'm not going to read all these to you, but there are so many things that we may be experiencing that may be contributing to the overall toxic load in the body. And there's just some of those on there. Cosmetics, unfortunately, as we are putting cosmetics on our skin, the average person who does that, we're putting 167 chemicals in our bodies every single day. It's what's in our water. A lot of people are drinking filtered water, but what about your shower? Just so many. The average city water has more than 250 chemicals, and obviously, when we look at mold toxicity, can affect our bodies in so many different ways. So that's, again, kind of why the need. The whole objective of the ion cleanse, I'm going to show you what this looks like, is when we have toxins in our body, typically stored on our cells, blocking our cell receptor sites, which could prohibit the uptake of nutrition and hormones, and can affect thyroid, so many different things. So the whole goal of this device is to help free up and mobilize those toxins that we have stored in our body, so we can then get them out of the body. So what does this actually look like? We have, and this is the Ion Cleanse Solo, what we see here, where literally what we're doing through this machine, we are going to create charged ions. So literally, this part that goes in the water, there's a series of metal stainless steel plates in there that enables us, through the electrolysis of water, to create charged ions. With our patented design, we're going to create negative ions. We're going to create positive ions. You look at it, it's like, oh my God, what does all this mean? Here's what we're doing. We're creating those ions in the water. And as I shared, those ions, think when we're creating negative ions, think of that as a big negatively charged magnet, if you will. Every toxin that we encounter is either going to be positively charged or it's going to be negatively charged. So when we're creating negative ions, we go back to school, we know what? Opposites attract. So when we're creating those negative ions in the water, that's going to help the body release those positively charged toxins that we have stored. Conversely, when we create those positive ions, it's going to help free up those negatively charged toxins. When those toxins become mobilized, freed up, there's two parts to the elimination. And one is what we release from our body into the foot bath. And then that part two is the detox that occurs once the cleanse is over. So have I, pardon the pun, muddied the water so far, or does this make sense to you guys?
It makes sense.
All right. So we do this, and we've got a lot of proof, and we talk about how the ions actually, do we really release toxins from our body into the foot bath? And I have a lot of practitioners that I work with doing conferences. They said, come on, Glenn, you expect me to believe we're going to free up these toxins and they're going to travel from my body, exit through my feet into the foot tub? I mean, I agree. It sounds a little bit hokey, but absolutely, as I shared on the previous slide, yes, we have proven that we can and do release toxins from our body into the foot tub. And I kind of turn the tables on the doctors. I'm like, doctor, let me ask you a question. Can you put on deodorant and absorb that aluminum from the deodorant into your body? They're like, well, yeah. Well, can you put on sunscreen and absorb those chemicals from the sunscreen into your body? Yes, again. Well, what about when we're putting on bug spray? Well, they're getting the point. Yes, we can and do absorb through the skin into our body, but we can do just the opposite. We can release through the skin out of our body. We do that every day when we do what? When we sweat, right? That's a form of detoxification. Well, with the ion cleanse, we have this large ionic charge. Imagine, like I said earlier, that's the big magnet. Now, where are the largest pores on our body? On our feet. So yes, we have proven that we can and do release from the body into the foot tub. Give you an example here. Here's somebody doing a cleanse. We're running the system with no feet in the water and then feet in the water. And you can see dramatic differences. Same water source, same everything. The only variable is that person who is cleansing. Now, you're wondering why on earth is there color change? Just so you know, this is regular tap water. The only thing that is added into the water is salt. And the machine tells you that. The sole purpose of the salt is just enables the machine get to the right amperage to maximize the ionization process. So that's the tap water, little bit of salt, the machine will tell you whether or not you need it. So it kind of begs the question, why is there this color change? Because if you do a Google search, a lot of people, oh, well, this, you got to tell you, this doesn't really work because you get color change with or without feed. As the manufacturer, we will tell you, we better have color change with no feed in the water. Otherwise, we're not making ions. It's not doing anything. But those ions are going to, I went quickly, but the average city water has over 200 chemicals in it. Those ions, what I tell people, they don't play favorites. They're going to neutralize what's in the water as well, even if there's no feed in there. So they're going to neutralize what's in the water. When we do add the salt to increase that conductivity, that salt has a charge too. The array plates, and what you can't really see is this is a series of 7 3/16 stainless steel panels. That array plate, that stainless steel, has a charge as well. So those components will make up the color change with or without feed. But if you compare, you're going to get some results. If you get a system for your family that looks somewhat similar, you're going to have others within your families, or, I have the distinct advantage here. I've seen well over 10,000 cleanses in my day, working a lot of different conferences. We'll have 6 machines going, things like this. And this is literally from a conference here. Here's another one where you see dramatic differences from one person to the other. So the body will often override that color change from what's in the tub. So that's kind of the whole color change. What we're looking at, this is a very safe, non-invasive form of detoxification. So literally, we are not putting anything at all into the body. What we're doing is helping the body release those toxins that are stored in the body. Questions so far? Yes.
You might go over this in a minute. So how is this different than like the ones that you can buy on Amazon or at CVS, right? That are they say they do the same thing, but what is the difference?
Right. And I tell people it's not an apples to orange comparison. It's more a fruit to a vegetable. I mean, that distinct difference. Number one, we are mixing electricity and water here. We invest and integrate a medical grade power supply, which is very, very important. I mean, safety, we've been doing this for a long time, 20 years. We have an absolutely perfect safety record. That power supply, not only safety, a key component, I'll touch on this, is the fact that we're going to have this clean electrical current. That filters out all the leakage current, hazardous voltage, AC ripple, as well as no EMFs, detectable EMFs coming off the machine. It's paramount to the overall detox process to get somebody in that relaxed state. Okay, so when we can take that body, when we filter all these out, most people are much more relaxed after a cleanse. Why is that important? There's a study that was been done, and again, this is straight off of PubMed, that looked at the organs of detox, and this specifically the liver. When we're in stress state, right, where that heightened, and a lot of people with a chronic situation are in that, and again, I got to use certain words here, chronic situation, their body is under stress. Well, when we're in stress, the liver actually contracts. Conversely, when we go into parasympathetic dominance, that's that relaxed state. When we become relaxed, not only is our body more relaxed, but our organs of detox become more relaxed. Relaxed liver, relaxed kidney, colon, etc. When they are much more relaxed, it's been proven that they work more effectively, they work more efficiently. Because during an ion cleanse session, If we don't filter out all of this current, if you're using one of those different brands without that medical grade power supply, number one, they'll say don't ever use it if there's any electrical surges, storms, things like that. Again, we can do that with our system, but what we're going to do is help people get into a more relaxed state. You get a continued elimination after the cleanse, because here's what happens. The typical session time is 30 minutes that you have your feet in the water. So you're just sitting there relaxing. We're creating this pull, we're mobilizing, we're releasing some of the toxins from the body into the foot bath, but now the machine turns off. This is actually, with our system, this is when the biggest detox actually occurs, because we have that pull. Now I'm gonna stop the share here for a minute. Let's just talk. So when during a session, we have freed up mobilized toxins that can and do release from the body. Machine turns off. Even though it's turned off, what do we still have? We still have a lot of freed up or mobilized toxins that didn't make it out of the body. But now liver, kidney, colon, right? They're all more relaxed. They're going to work more effectively. They're going to process out more toxins. So that's where we get the continued elimination through the urine and through the stool post cleanse. And we've done some studies on that. That can occur for the next 24, 48, even 72 hours after the cleanse. So we always encourage everybody, drink plenty of water. That's where we're going to get that continued release, again, through the urine and through the stool post cleanse. So big component.
I have a question. The different colors, whenever you're detoxing with the ion cleanse, do they mean something if you have like different colors?
Yeah, great question, because there's a lot of misinformation out on the internet. It is a non-diagnostic tool. They do mean something, and we are actually the originators of the color chart that have to do with EAV. EA what? Electroacupuncture by Vol. That has to do with the meridian of the body you are releasing from, right? Divided by acupuncture. So first off, you got to take into consideration most places in the US, you run the system with no feet in the water, you're going to have more of that orangey brown that I showed earlier. But what happens if somebody has a dark green color tint to it? Well, that's indicative of releasing from that gallbladder meridian, meaning they may not even have a gallbladder, but they have that part of the body. So that's that. Green is indicative of gallbladder meridian. Dark brown to black is a liver meridian. Doesn't mean anybody has a liver problem. Your body is going to set the priority of where it needs to release from, and that can influence the overall color. But by no means is this a diagnostic tool. Okay. So if you see, oh, this means this, you cannot. I've been cleansing for 11 years. As long as I look down, as long as I get color change, great. If we don't get color change, the machine's not creating charged ions. So, but it is not diagnostic. This is where people who do post that, unfortunately, they're uninformed. They're making claims that you simply cannot make. It as a non-diagnostic tool. Did I stress that enough?
I'm glad you asked that, Emily. I was thinking that too. I'm like, I remember seeing some of my girlfriends with their posts from like units they bought, I don't know where from, and they're like, oh, this color means this is wrong with my body and this. And I'm like, I don't feel like it should be that simple if it's a medical tool. That doesn't make sense to me. So I'm glad you clarified that.
Yeah, absolutely. If I want to show you one other thing here that I think is really important. I'll kind of move on from that. Oh, I didn't put it in this slide. When we talk about toxicity, part of you asked us, well, what's the difference in our system versus other units out on the market? Is we have a patent, US patent on our design that enables us to create negative ions and positive ions. This is super important. This is going to be really important to this community because, as I said, toxins are either negatively charged or positively charged. Your negative ions are going to attract your positively charged toxins. Those are primarily your heavy metals and your pesticides. That's what other units out on the market do. With our system, we also create positive ions. Why is that important? Negatively charged toxins, going back to what what attracts what? Glyphosate as an herbicide is actually negatively charged. It's different than a pesticide. Candida, ammonia, endotoxins, right? A lot of people who have Lyme as a tick-borne illness, it's that die-off that occurs, and that's when people who have Lyme feel their worst. Those are negatively charged, those endotoxins. Mycotoxins can be a little tricky. Depending on the mycotoxin, can be negatively charged or positively charged. Well, the beauty of the ion cleanse, we've got all your bases covered because we are going to create both negative and positive. We don't create those simultaneously. The system will alternate back and forth, creating those negative and positive ions.
I love that. I remember the first time we talked on the phone, you brought that up, and that was something that I hadn't even mentally processed through, that some of the mycotoxins are going to be negatively charged and some are going to be positively charged.
Yeah.
So even after that, I left the conversation and started to look into that. And I was like, that is very interesting, because that's not something people are going to look into. They're just going to think it's going to take a toxin out of my body, and
Right.
that's just going to be the end of the story. I was very impressed by that myself. That was, the science behind that was incredible.
It's a huge component, because again, you got part of the equation, right? We need the full equation. I mean, it can help to reduce part, but you know, that's the great thing. And I go back to the old ions don't play favorites, right? It's going to help the body release, whether it's negatively charged or positively charged. It's a huge deal. We have a patent on our design that enables us to do that, which you know, has really helped set our unit apart from any unit out on the market.
So I know we're going to talk a little bit about autism and your guys' work with that spectrum and how it's helped, because we have a lot of people that are in our community that are going through that, where their children have either been diagnosed with autism since birth, or they've been diagnosed since being exposed to mold. But before we do that, we need to thank one of our sponsors. We need to say thank you to Dr. Peter Osborne. He's an expert in functional nutrition and is a board certified with the American Clinical Board of Nutrition, oftentimes referred to as a gluten-free warrior. He is one of the most sought after alternative and nutritional experts in the world. He's the founder of the Gluten-Free Society, the author of the Gluten-Free Health Solution and the Glutenology Health Matrix. In addition, he is the author of the international best-selling book, No Grain, No Pain. He's also Friends of Malachi's Message, and he is one of our event sponsors. So thank you, Dr. Peter Osborne. How has it been shown to be instrumental, the ion cleanse, to those who have children with autism? And is there growing research into the correlation of how has it been instrumental to the basically to the community of autism, where they're seeing their kids that are being diagnosed with this?
Sure. Yeah. First, yeah. Let me go back to one of my very first statements: is we do not diagnose, we don't treat, we don't cure. Okay. Right. So, yeah. You know, that being said, I do know that initially there's a nonprofit organization that did an evaluation on the ion cleanse using the system every other day for the course of 4 months. Everything else they were already doing and implementing the ion cleanse, nothing else changed other than having their child cleanse every other day over the course of 4 months. They saw an average reduction of symptomology of 35% in the course of 4 months. Now, and that was using the ATEC, stands for Autism Treatment Evaluation Checklist. It is a free online parent survey, and there's 4 categories. There's speech, there's behavior, there's cognitive, and then your overall physical. And again, I think around 48, 50 questions, something like that. The higher the score, the more severe the symptomology. So in their evaluation, what they showed, as I said, 35% reduction every other day. Well, they did another evaluation where they increased the cleansing protocol from every other day to 3 days in a row, 1 day off. 3 days in a row, 1 day off for the course of 4 months, and saw an average ATEC reduction this time of 55%. Now, to me, I mean, yeah, absolutely unbelievable. But to me, the coolest part in this study, they had 27 participants, and I can't remember the exact number. 10 or 12 were actually teenagers, right? And for a lot of people, once you hit a certain age, it's like, yeah, you're at that age, there's not a whole lot more we can do for you. The teenagers actually had a 64% reduction in their symptomology. And one of the reasons that is toxicity. A lot of kids in this community have either just compromised detox pathways, they have MTHFR gene mutations that are just prohibit their body from detoxing, where they need that assist, right? And that's what the ion cleanse, again, we're not putting anything into the body, it's helping the body then release those toxins. And we know, and I know you guys have talked about this before, we skimmed it at the very beginning, toxins could affect, let's just say the three of us, and we all get exposed, and let's just say that we are exposed to certain mold toxins, could affect me one way, Elizabeth could affect you another way, and could affect Emily totally different, right? Toxicity affects all of us in different ways.
Yeah. Man.
Because when you go back to this community, and I loved your doctor sponsor, and really, the gluten-free diet, very, very important, and specifically in the community we're discussing, very, very, very helpful. But you go beyond that, it's let's put this into the body and put this into the body and put this into the body, where the ion cleanse, perfectly safe. Kids love the cleanse, right? They love to keep their feet in the water. They know what makes them feel good. So we're doing this in a non-invasive form. Literally, they can sit there. You can sit at a little desk, and they can cleanse. And for kids, we reduce the amount of time. Typically it's 30 minutes, but we can go down to the age of 2, and literally we've had people, their child takes a nap, they're just holding them and have their feet in the water. Some people, 3 years old, set them up on a little table, let them color, do whatever they want to do. So a lot of ways that you can get creative, and kids absolutely love it.
Yeah. And I know you guys are heavily involved with TACA too, right? I'm going to give a shout out to that. You guys
absolutely love TACA, the autism community, and action. Yes.
Yeah. Well, how can people, if they're hearing this, they're going, yeah, okay, this is something I want to look into more. This is something I'd like to get, especially for families that are at the point where they've been so exposed, right? This is so appealing. What can they do? How can they?
Sure, absolutely. I'll just kind of go real quick and give you, I do want to let you know that we're headquartered in Denver, Colorado. We are the manufacturer. So this is a USA made product, has been since we started 20 years ago. We have an absolutely perfect safety record. I don't know if you guys can see the info on the bottom, but our company name is A Major Difference. So our website, amajordifference.com. So let me do this a little bit.
There we go. We can see it. Yeah, we can see it.
So there you go. So amajordifference.com is our website. And again, I say that a lot of the information that we covered today, we abide by the FDA rules. So there's our website, our phone number. Anybody, this is kind of we're the communities that we're in are probably some of the most challenging in the world. So, and people kind of come to us as a last resort, because there's no single modality or therapy that works for every single person. So if you do invest in an ion cleanse system, that's that second point, that 60-day 100% money back guarantee. Literally, I know we talked about this. What I tell everybody, if you do decide to get one, the day that it arrives, go to your calendar about 52 days later and do ion cleanse ? And if you don't feel like your investment is worth it, please return it. It's no forms to fill out. We don't ask why. That's one of the reasons I enjoy working here. company of integrity. We say what we're going to do. And if somebody buys our product, man, I want you to keep it only if you feel like it's beneficial for you.
Yeah, which was huge, right? Like I remember I told my husband, actually, we're very big on USA made stuff. And I told him about the return policy. And he went, nobody does that. He
Right.
said, nobody does that. There's always like, 5 forms you have to fill out and explain why. And if it's used, obviously you're going to have used this. So that stood out too, again, as another check mark for us going, man, this is a company of integrity. That's somebody that people need to know about.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, no restocking charges or anything like that. I actually bought a product and they had a 1 year money back guarantee. And I'm like, this is great. Hey, I want to return. This is like month. No, you have to wait until 1 year's up. Then you have this window and then you've got to do this. And the restocking charge, it was just a headache. And I'm like, yeah, we track everything by serial number. So nobody even has to call us. They could just return it and we track everything by serial numbers. And so we make it very easy.
I'd say it's too easy.
Right.
Emily, do you have any last questions before we go?
No, other than I can tell you just from the clients who have bought your product and they use it, they love it. And I believe in it just here, because I get a lot of feedback from our clients, and your Ion Cleanse is one of the #1 tools that they use to help detox their children and themselves from their mold and mycotoxin exposure.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And unfortunately, it's problematic. I see so many, and I was just watching a video by Dave Asprey, and he was just talking about, he's like, talking about Lyme disease. And he's like, we kind of all have Lyme, but it's really the mold that is triggering the Lyme. So, I mean, you guys understand this, that we're still putting all the pieces together. So when we reduce that toxic load in the body, it's all about, man, let's just improve the quality of life for people by reducing the toxic load in the body. So
yeah, I love that. I love that you're not adding something to it, that you're just helping your body do its job. That's huge.
Yep.
Thank you. Thank you so much for coming on. I hope
Been my
people go
pleasure.
check you guys out.